Sometimes I'm an ass about it. I'm a brat too. I'm guilty of like irritating or saying something. I know it might be a tad bit offensive, but I can't resist it. Like a child, I'm just like, why can't we say this?
Narcissist on the stool. That's pretty much it. Let's just continue to talk with it off. Let's keep doing an interview. Let you guys stay put.
It's a real tight shot on my face. Oh yeah, cool. I'm cool with whatever. I don't care. Paul Hooper. 18 years. It's ridiculous, right? I started February of 1998 in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah, Comedy Zone in Charlotte, North Carolina. So it's still there. There's like, this is the third location, but I started there February 18th, 1998. It was like one of the first workshop class things, which I hate to even say, but it was. It was like, there were none of those back then. And then, I don't know, I was too scared at the time to just go to the open mic they had going. And then I saw this thing for this workshop or whatever they called it, class, bullshit. But I went, and it was like this thing. We did it. I guess it helped ease me because it was just too. I needed to get over the stage fright of it all, I think, and that sort of got me through it. They didn't help with anything else. It was just a matter of like, you know, you try the jokes on a smaller group of people, then before you went to this bigger, like regular crowd, I guess. I guess, I mean, just social anxiety and all that stuff, and I never liked giving speeches in class, which is very common for, you know, comics, and then so I just hated the idea of it, but I love comedy, and so I did want to try it one time, and so I just needed to get up there. Because I thought about it from the time I was a kid, and then that was, and then I turned 18, I'm like, well, I can do it now if I want to do it, but I didn't have the balls to do it, and it took till 22. I don't give that any thought because I'm so far in now. I'm 18 years in. So I started at 22. I'm 40 years old. I turned 41 this weekend. So there's no sort of turning back on it now. And I never thought of, nothing sounded good. Between 18 and 20 years old, I did that panic of like, what should I do? I mean, comedy was the dream, but you're like, what could I do? And I'm like, maybe I'll go in the military. I signed up, backed out. Like maybe I'll go to college. And nothing sounded good. Even the typical professions of doctor and lawyer, I didn't really want to do it. The money sounded appealing. But there were no other dreams in there, and so then I was just, no. And since then, I've just done it for, you know, almost 20 years of my adult life, so I don't know what I would go back and do now. So it's really terrifying, but keeps me in it, and, you know, there was no backup. It's somehow I have it in my phone, I have it in a notebook, and whatever ideas I'm working on, it's just bullet points, and then as I come up with it, I'll write more lines down. And if there's a technical problem, like I tried a few times, it's like it's not working, then I'll go back and pay attention to every word and try it again every night. But I just like look at my notes and then sort of daydream it. Like when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, what 2 or 3 ideas am I trying to work on? And then I go get coffee and just try to think about it, like throughout the day, and then write the ideas down as they come. And then I do sit down and try to work on them a little bit, but I wouldn't say I'm over a page for like 4 hours a day or anything. There's no set time. It's just throughout the day, keep thinking about it. I mean, Larry David is, I can watch anything he produces. I mean, like Idiot Abroad with Carl Pilkington too. Those two, if I had a comedy goal right now, present day, it's to out-complain those two, which I don't think can be achieved. Complain, people think it's a downer sometimes. I don't know, it's so beautiful to me. And it's not that you want someone just complaining all day, but if it's done in a funny way, it's the best thing ever. I just listen to someone whine or just cut through bullshit with a complaint. I love it so much. I've always been on the cynical side of it. And my family's sort of that way. My grandmother was especially one of the most beautiful pessimists on the planet. And she told me stories as a kid that were somewhat traumatic or jarring, but then at the same time, I loved them. It was hilarious. My favorite comics are a little surly. I mean, that's what I listen to at night. It's like Phil Hendry, because I think it's brilliant in the way he confuses people. I'm a big fan of confusion and complaints. I don't know, I just try to, now, I try to get it to where I bounce back faster than, it just hurts. It's just always gonna hurt if you care about it, so now I just try to, like the recovery time, I try to get it back where I'm not moping or depressed in bed all week about a bad set, where like a day later I can recover. I mean, you can't shake it off and act like it didn't happen, but you just, you know, take the hit. It hurts, it's painful. Try to fix the things you can fix and then get over it. I think recording helped a lot. Go through and go, I messed up that joke, switch that, it'll work now. It's the technical side of it. But more for me, for probably my self-esteem issues and all the self-loathing that us comics have, is that when a show went wrong, I could, especially the bad shows, I could listen and like, well, I screwed that up, but I did this pretty well. And it talked me off the ledge. Because if you just have it set in your head, you did poorly, and then you have to just, you don't have any record of it, any evidence, you just start going in this spiral, this self-defeating spiral. You put it all out there. I mean, I've talked about everything from just weird little situations like that to like, I don't drink anymore, so they were there for a while. Now I'm 10 years sober, so I don't talk about those stories much anymore, but for the last few years, I had to cover a lot of that, of like my drinking problem and trying to get that out. I mean, it's just, you know, a laundry list. It crescendoed into just a nightmare where it was just a DUI, which is very common, but then peeing the bed, drunk all the time, breaking windows, walking on bar tabs. Everybody's getting pissed and tired of apologizing for me. And then I prank called 911. That was the final time. I prank called 911 and I got thrown in jail for 2 days. And got out of jail and never drank again. And I was just physically falling apart. I was going to be in prison or die, and so I stopped. So, but you have to cover all that heavy stuff in there. And then people will get uncomfortable with everything. And they're just buzzwords that people freak out about. Well, you still got to say them. Most of it, it's all like rooted in the truth. There are some things that I just say that are sort of outlandish, or I don't know, to get a rise out of people sometimes. But a lot of it starts in like a real place, and because I appreciate it being done to me. I like to be shocked, and I like to be irritated if someone's going for the joke. I like when someone catches me off guard, and I like that. So I try to do it to them, and I try to give them enough credit to where like they should get it. If someone really gets pissed, you know. Because I've never been offended by a joke. I don't know how that works. Because I think everybody has their story, these traumatic things happen in their life. And I always think about like my grandmother, who I loved, who had Alzheimer's and deteriorated. It took 10 years. And, you know, we had to take her to the bathroom. She ended up in this hospital with all her muscles atrophied and all this stuff. And I loved her, and it was heartbreaking. But I'm like, I never tried to figure out if someone did a joke about Alzheimer's, even if it was sort of rude or reckless about Alzheimer's patients, I don't think I would get offended. It's separate. What happened to my grandmother is separate from some stranger saying something about the disease. Together, I would never be the one who's like, my grandmother, how dare you? I'm like, you didn't do anything to my grandmother. You didn't create the disease. You didn't kill her. You weren't there. Your joke does not affect her in any way. So sometimes I try to understand it. But I don't know. We're desensitized as comics. Nothing can really offend, I don't think, me. Or if it does, if I'm taken aback or shocked, I love it so much.